Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on this episode of Seven Figure Success. And as always, I'm joined by Verl Workman from Workman Success Systems. And we've got a great guest today that's going to share some of their systems that they're using to have success. And Verl, why don't you start off by telling everybody a little bit more about what we're going to talk about and introduce everybody to Anthony.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me, and we're excited about the video hangout today. This Google Hangout's the first one we've ever done, so this is like, this is like rookie time. We're going to figure this out and make a great thing with it. I'm excited about not only being able to share Anthony Marguleas with us today, but also a lot of other guests in the future that'll talk about how to really build a seven-figure business. And when I talk about seven-figure, I'm talking about income, not gross sales. And it's not easy to do, but when you have the right formula, you follow the right systems, and you run your business with a high level of integrity, then it happens. And it can happen to you. There's no reason that you can't believe that you have the capacity, no matter what market you're in, to build a business that will allow you to have a seven-figure income in real estate. This is an unbelievable business. I absolutely love what I do. And I know that Anthony does as well. So let me just welcome Anthony Marguleas with us from Amalfi Estates in beautiful Pacific Palisades, California. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Verl. Thank you for having me on your show.
Well, we're excited to have you here today. As we go through, we're going to talk a little bit about, work in the luxury market. You have a phenomenal business. Do you mind telling us a little bit about your business, kind of, where you've been in the past and kind of what it looks like today?
Sure. Well, let's see. I started my company 22 years ago. We're located between Santa Monica and Malibu. I have, last year, to give you some references, I did $135 million in business. This year, thanks to your help, I'm on track to do $200 million.
That's pretty exciting. Now you're not a big brokerage. You don't have thousands of agents, do you?
No, I don't have. I had 2 assistants last year, and I did the $135 million with 2 assistants. And this year we've been growing out our team, so I have 6 fantastic sales partners that have joined our team. And we've personally selected them with your help, and we've been able to have them between sitting our open houses and between giving them a lot of referral business. It's going to drastically improve our production this year. So we're very excited.
I remember early on in our conversations we talked about, we wanted to hire buyer's agents, and you didn't like how that sounded. You wanted to have sales partners. What was the psychology behind that?
We went back and forth. Buyer's agents, it's great to have buyer's agents, but I felt it was a little limiting, and some of my team members occasionally will bring in listings. The listings will still be under our team name. So we're the Marguleas team of Amalfi Estates. And the sales partner, it gives a lot more credibility. We do a lot of high-end marketplace, and when you're meeting with a buyer or a seller and you reference yourself as a sales partner, it just gives a lot more credibility.
I agree with you, and it's been interesting to have to watch your sales partners embrace that concept, and it makes them feel like a partner too, instead of just a member of somebody's team.
Yeah, and they are a partner. Yeah, they're an integral part of our team.
So talk to me a little bit about selling luxury real estate and how that's different than just regular single-family homes. Just the whole concept of the high end. Where do you sell? What's the kind of the range you work in?
Sure. There's a large range, but our average price range last year was $4 million. So we range anywhere from, we have $2 million properties that they're technically teardowns. They're just a little plot of land, about 6,000 square feet, and with a little house on it, and that goes for about $2 million. And we sell upwards of $15 and $20 million homes.
So that's true luxury real estate. How's that different than just traditional real estate? I mean, just if there are 5 or 6 things that you think are really drastically different, how do you approach it? What's the marketing like?
Yeah, I mean, the way we approach it, it's definitely customer service oriented. For example, when we're marketing our properties, we do very extensive videos, and we do drone videos and aerial videos of our properties. We typically will feature our properties on the cover of some of the local and even national magazines. When we're representing buyers on the high end, we do on average 8 inspections of a property. The typical agent will do around 2 or 3 inspections. So what we found is the more knowledge that we have about a property on the high end, the better we're protecting our client.
What besides the regular, call the home inspector, what other inspections will you do that are different?
We typically we do mold inspections, we do foundation drainage, roof inspections, chimney inspections, sewer line inspection. We'll have structural engineers occasionally. We'll have an arborist. We have a property right now that has a 200-year-old oak tree, so we hired an arborist. And what's interesting, people assume if it's a new construction house, you don't need to do that level of detail. And we've gotten upwards of $50,000 to $100,000 back on brand new construction homes by doing that level of detail on inspections.
Yeah, I think that's critical. And what's a high end for you might be 15 to 20 million. That might be an $800,000 house in somebody else's market, or even a 600,000 if you're in a small market. So whatever the high end for your market is, what you're saying is that you give the client a lot more detail when they're making the.
Exactly right. Yeah, and one key point that we found, Verl, that's been very helpful is it's easy to be intimidated if you are not used to selling properties in your marketplace that are considered high-end. And so what that means is you need to go in with the confidence and knowledge of your marketplace. There's always an intimidation when you're working with a high-end seller or buyer, but the reality is they are just like any other buyer or seller in that marketplace. In many cases, they're not that sophisticated in their real estate knowledge. They just happen to have been very successful in their specific career. So they really are looking for an expert to help them out, and we've been able to do that. The other thing that we started doing is branding ourselves in the high end, and so that means your whole image. So the way you dress, the car you drive, the groups that you're going to network with. And what we've been tracking every year is to increase our average price range of our homes. So we have charts that we use, and we want to see every year about increasing that to a higher number. And it's been very, very successful.
So when you talk about, you talked briefly about marketing and some magazines and things that you do from a marketing perspective. Let's spend a minute and talk to us about some different ways of marketing a luxury property, and then we'll talk about some of the things you might do to generate some of that business.
Sure. We're constantly looking for the new and exciting marketing tool. So whether it's we were one of the first companies to do the aerial drones. Now we actually we're big believers in hiring the best. I know a lot of agents out there tend to, well, I just got my own drone, I'm going to take my own pictures, or maybe they think they're photography buffs and they want to take pictures of their own home. Or we hire people out to write our text. We hire professionals to do our videos. We really want to go with the best that they have out there, and it really has helped us quite a bit. For example, our videos right now will combine 30 seconds of a lifestyle video in the beginning, because we have people from all over the country coming to our area, and so it'll get a tour of Pacific Palisades, and then the rest of the video will be a combination of aerial video along with hyperlapse, which speeds up certain sections of the video. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah, and then still photography, and they combine all of them together, and it actually turns out pretty nice.
So, do you stage your homes? I mean, how much effort and time do you put into getting the house ready for buyers to come in and go through it? Will you list it and then put it right on the market, or does it take,
Yeah, it's a good question. We actually stage 95% of the homes that we have, and most of those are not vacant. So we have conversations with our clients. We're talking on big homes, 6,000, 7,000 square foot homes, some even smaller homes, obviously, where they're living there, and we'll say, look, you have very nice furniture. However, we think to get a maximum return on the investment, typically everything we're going to recommend to our client, we recommend that they get at least a 5 to 7 times return on their investment, or we're not going to recommend doing it. So we do stage all of our properties. We do pre-inspections of the home before we list them. So we'll have a general home inspection done. We'll do a preliminary title report. we don't do any exploratory inspections, so I would never recommend a mold inspection or a chimney inspection on a listing that we're getting. On the buy side, of course, but on a listing, I wouldn't recommend that.
So now let's talk about. So you talked about marketing, getting it ready, using the best photography. You know, it drives me crazy when I see agents using their own cameras. I call them drive-by shootings. You can see the frame of their car, the shot as they drive by the house.
Right.
Get their thumb in the photo.
I love that. And why do you think I love that?
Well, because it makes you look different. It separates you.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And it really separates, you know, ourselves. I mean, I've been very, very fortunate. We just got ranked in the top 100 agents in the country, and a lot of it is just you want to think of ways you can distinguish yourself from the competition. So we've done. There's a great 3D virtual tour from Matterport is the company. They put out, it's I think around a $10,000 camera that we hire people who know how to use it, and it's pretty cool. It's like Google Earth, but it's inside of a home. So we're constantly looking for the next best thing. There's some great real estate apps coming out in the next year for Oculus VC that has the headset for real estate, and that's, I think, going to be really exciting. And just really having the pulse of what the next best thing is coming out there.
So let's talk about finding these clients. You know, if I were an agent, I wanted to get into luxury, and I've always, you know, I'm selling the average market, and I want to start working in luxury. What would you recommend to an agent that wanted to break into a higher end dollar?
Sure. Well, it's taken me some time to do it. It's not a quick overnight process. I would just, you know, start joining your local private clubs. In our area, we have a lot of beach clubs. So you want to hang out where people that have money hang out. Join a high-end networking group. That's what I did that. So we had minimum income levels of this networking group. So I knew that the people in the group would be associating with other people that would be potential clients of ours. So I think the beach clubs or private clubs are good. Whatever your hobbies are. If you're into horses, you know, we sponsor a polo event every year because I think it fits with our brand. If you're into cars, maybe a high-end car show. If you're into wine, you know, join a great wine club. Wherever you can go to, if you like to travel, you know, travel in first class. You're going to meet people that would be great potential clients.
You know, that's so true. I'm actually doing this call from Cancun, Mexico, and we're in a really nice resort. It's interesting as you sit around the pool with other people that are in this nice resort. I've met people that own real estate companies. I've met people that own mortgage businesses. I've met people that are entrepreneurs from all over the world really, and it really does make a difference where you hang out and the people you meet.
Yeah, definitely.
My daughter messaged me and said that she's only flying first class from now on, Anthony. I don't think that was a good advice, right?
Send me the bill.
Right. I love that.
So I've got a question for you, Anthony. Yeah.
Sure.
So you mentioned that you go out and you join the clubs to get introduced to the people that are in the high-end market. What are you doing after you make that initial introduction to stay in touch with those people?
Let me think about that one. I mean, in general, we do, you know, each day we make our calls. So we have a call logs that we have to make as follow-up. We have email campaigns that we send out to each of them. I'm a big believer in the personal calls in addition to the emails. So Verl set us up with a great. We didn't have a fantastic contact management program. So currently he put us up with and introduced us to top producers as one of the avenues for contact management, and he's introducing us to some other ones as well, but just as a great follow-up. I think as well, if you're a newer agent or an agent who hasn't broken into the high end, if you can sit at other agents' open houses, I think that's a great avenue. You know, when we have, I'll give you an example. I hired a newer agent. He's been with us now 12 weeks in our office, and he's already closed 8.3 million, which was 2 transactions that he picked up from our open houses. So I'm a big believer. We actually started doing Saturday and Sunday open houses because there's such a great marketing piece, because it's a live buyer. They're walking in your property, and you get a face-to-face with them. And we are big believers in open houses. A lot of people aren't. So more business for us.
One of my favorite Anthony quotes, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, was at the end of the year, and we were looking at your numbers and kind of where what we'd done in the previous year, and you said, well, I don't know if I should tell you this, but I feel like I'm running at 10%, which means there's so much opportunity out there. There's so much.
Yeah, Brill, you're right. I believe in the plentiful mentality. I know a lot of agents have well, not a lot of agents. Some agents, have a scarcity mentality, and I believe there is so much business out there. It's almost like shooting fish in a stocked pool or stocked lake. And if you have the right attitude, and you have a great coach, and you have good systems in place, I think the sky is the limit. And one thing, Burl, that you've taught me is really to expand what is really possible. So about a year ago, or 2 years ago, was the first year I did $100 million, and that was my be-all moment. I was like, I never thought I'd hit 100 million. And then when I met with you, and you said, well, why can't you do 200 million? And I said, you know what, you're right. And I resisted, of course, because the minute when your heart starts palpitating and you start getting nervous, then you know that you're really pushing yourself, and it's not hard to do, and we all have it, in us to be that successful.
Well, I appreciate that. So besides getting you to think big and a little bit bigger, what are some of the other benefits you've had just in working with a coach? What are you noticing different about the way you're doing business?
You helped us with our core values, which at the time I didn't buy into it, and I'm not your easiest client. I kind of resist, and then you kind of beat me over the head, and then I realize you're right 99% of the time. But the core values really help focus what our core mission was about. And you even talked to me about jettisoning one of my biggest clients who made up about 15% of my business, and I was very nervous about doing so because it didn't match with our core values and our ethics. And I really appreciated you doing that. And so our whole team is aligned with our core values. We sat down and we met, and we spent an entire day focusing on what was important to our business and what separates our business. And one of those was making a positive impact in the community. And it really ties in with our charitable giving. We give 10% of each commission to charity. And I think typically the average in our area is 1%. And so we said we're going to break that mold, and we're going to give back, and we're going to make a difference in the community because we really care, and we love it, and that's what we're about.
How are your clients involved in the giving back? Do you just pick a charity, or do your clients involved? What's that process look like?
We've done it a couple different ways. It's actually been evolving. We had our clients pick it, but that got a little challenging because we'd have to follow up with the client. What we're doing now is I've had each of my sales partners pick or they're going to pick a charity because it's newly involved. We just hired these 6 sales partners in the last 12 weeks. But they're each going to pick a charity that's dear to them and really means a lot to them. And I'm actually personally paying for each of them to join the board of that charity so they can really make it impactful. And then usually a lot of the business I refer to the sales partners, and so, but they're allowed to direct the charity commissions to that one charity that's important to them so they can really make a difference. And you can imagine doing $135 million in business last year with 10% going to charity. I love that. That's my passion. So I can't wait. I'd love giving 50% to charity if I could, and I can't wait to do $200 million to give a lot more to the community.
It's really interesting, and Anthony, this isn't something you would probably say to others, but I love that. I love this because it's who you are. is you said to me that I want to do publicity and I want to do press when I'm giving to charity, because I want to put pressure on the other agents in our market to do the same thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't about, you know, I want everyone to know what I'm giving. I want all the other agents to see this is how you do it right. I love that about you.
Yeah.
So, and another thing, I know that with some of the other clients and agents that I've talked to that are doing some of the same things as you, Anthony, and I'll get your take on it, they're using their charitable giving as another form to network with people in luxury markets that have money, that may be giving to the same charities, the benefits, the dinners, going there, meeting people that may potentially be clients and growing their database that way too. Is that something that you are doing?
You know, it's a good question, Scott. What we found is, and it's a great idea. We actually started this, well, for the last year. We had 21 charities that we were giving to, and it was more of a shotgun approach. But in the last month, we've actually hired a charitable consultant, and that's where we focused it down to. Each sales partner will have just one charity they're going to give to, in order for us to really make more of an impactful difference, and like you said, network with other agents or other people with that charity in other places throughout the country. One thing that we're excited about is when I'm paying for them to join the board of that charity, and you know, there's not a lot of people that can afford to be on that board. So I think the networking possibilities by being involved in that, I mean, it's a win-win. It's something they love to do. They're really, you know, it's a personal mission to be involved with that charity, and then to be able to write a check to them. Tonight we're giving a $9,000 check to the local elementary school. So one of my sales partners, in fact, I'll give plugs out to him, Cody, who's been with us 12 weeks, and he's the one who closed a little over $8 million. We're meeting tonight at the school, and the local paper is coming out, and we're going to be giving them a nice big check. So we're very excited about that.
$9 grand is a lot to a local school. That's huge.
Yeah, yeah. So we're very excited. So
and Anthony, I heard you mention, and then Scott, I'm sure you have questions from people, but I heard you mention that you recommended that, you know, agents wanted to generate more business could work luxury open houses for other agents. A lot of people around the country say open houses don't work. They don't like doing open houses. Tell me about open houses for you. Do you really work open houses?
Yeah, we really do work open houses. We're not the typical, you know, a lot of open houses we go into for other agents. We walk in and the agent's sitting on the couch. I went into one open house 2 weeks ago, and this is a $3 million listing in the Palisades. And the agent was sitting on a couch with a headset on watching a movie. And I said, you know, when people walk in, he's not greeting them, he's sitting down. So our policy is never sit down, always standing, always greet them, always point out the features of the home. We actually have an online, we have an iPad for each of our open houses where buyers can sign in, so they get we get their email address, and we can get their contact information, obviously. And then they immediately get emailed within a minute of signing into the open house. They're in our database. We can follow up with them. I love open houses. You know, I think when you get someone walking into a property and there's a personal face-to-face connection, there's nothing better.
Right. Anthony, I want you to be straight with me. Are there enough leads out there? Are there enough leads to be able to support a team with as many people as you have?
Yes, yeah. I could probably hire 20 sales partners and still have too much business. There is so much business out there right now. Yeah. So the answer is yes. So, I mean, to give you an example, I only focused on just Pacific Palisades for quite a long time, and it worked for my business because I became the expert in my marketplace. So, you know, I'm a small operation, as you know, Verl. It was myself and 2 assistants. We were doing more business than I'm not going to mention brand names, but some of the other franchises that you heard of that have 50 agents in their office. So now that we've secured Pacific Palisades, now we're going to branch out for other areas. Because there was so much business out there, I chose not to go after it. If it was even 15 minutes out of my geographical area, because I only focused on a 5-mile radius. And I know a lot of agents will focus on a 100-mile radius or even farther, but for us, it helped our success by really ultra focusing. And now that we've controlled that market, now we're going to expand out.
Scott, do you have some questions from the chat?
Yeah, I've got a question for you, Anthony. What would be the one tip that you would tell an agent that was trying to break into the luxury market? I know we talked about running around in the right crowds, networking, dressing the part, acting the part, making a mindset shift. What's the biggest thing that they should do first when they're trying to make that transition?
I mean, I think knowledge is power, and it gives you confidence. So, if you make sure you see every single property in the high end of your marketplace, and what we do, we tell our sales partners, print out all the active, pending, and sold over the last year, and drive up and down the street and go to as many open houses as you can, and know that inventory and know why things are selling what they've sold for, and really be the expert. I also started writing for the local paper on the high-end market. So write an article about what the most expensive home in your neighborhood sold for and why, even if you didn't sell it, and just align yourself, maybe the most expensive home in your state even. You want to be viewed as the luxury expert. There's some great luxury designations. I know Lori Moore has a luxury designation that's good. You want to do as much as you can to really be the expert in your marketplace. Write articles about luxury homes. Write articles about the best way to market a luxury home. The more you can do, and follow-up is important. It's almost an obsession on follow-up. So if you say you're going to call someone, call them. If you say you're going to email them, email them. And love what you do. You have to love what you do. If you love what you do, it's not work. And I put a lot of time into real estate because I love it. And I'm up very, very late at all hours, and my clients know that. But I love it, and it's my passion.
And one more question for you. How do you market your open houses?
We market them in print and online. So we have I'm 50 years old. I just turned 50, and our sales partners, 3 of our sales partners are in their 20s. So they kind of help run our social media platforms. So Twitter, Facebook, blanket on the other ones, but they promote them on all the social media platforms. So
great.
And
do you do a lot of mailings, Anthony, into the neighborhoods in and around where you're doing opens?
We have in the past. We don't as much now, but we have in the past. One thing that we found is really helpful. I personally don't door knock, but I recommend that my sales partners do, just because it's not something I started doing. I never worked for a real estate firm before. I started my company, and I never sold a house, so I self-taught myself everything. It's a little bit of a unique perspective. But one thing we found very successful prior to an open house is to have someone door knock and actually invite them to the open house, and it's a nice entree, as well as asking if they're interested in knowing the value of their home, which is what a lot of door knockers do. But this is actually inviting them to the open house, and we found a lot of success in doing that. We also have we'll do valet parking at open houses if it's a big property. I think it's a classy move. We'll have wine and cheese occasionally at our open houses. We'll do evening open houses and make it a big event. We'll have music at open houses, jazz. We'll have a violinist. We'll have someone playing the harp. We'll have catered food. Anything we can do to really separate and brand ourselves in the luxury marketplace.
Great. So, go ahead, Verl.
I was just going to say, it's not like regular real estate. What I picked up from that, if I can just summarize a couple things. One is that you have to have an unfair competitive advantage. You got to separate yourself from everybody else. And 2 is you get by giving back to the community. That's been a big boost to your business, and it makes you feel good and be passionate about what you do. I love that. And the next one that I thought was really interesting is what an emphasis you put on being an expert, putting yourself on auto hot sheets, knocking the doors, seeing the neighborhoods, going to open houses. There's no substitute for knowledge. Knowledge is power. And it doesn't matter whether you're selling. It doesn't matter where you're selling real estate. If you don't know what's going on in your marketplace, then you can't compete with those who do. And you can't fake it. You either have that knowledge or you don't.
Correct. Yeah, I keep a database of every home I've seen, and I write notes on every property. So I have 4,000 properties that I've seen in Pacific Palisades with detailed notes on each property. I can pull up from my phone at any time. I can be out in the field. Someone will ask me. And I typically have seen 20, 30 homes on many of the streets. So just the knowledge of going in there, knowing what the cost per square foot of land in each neighborhood is, knowing what the appreciation has been based on the median price, the average price, the cost per square foot. I'm a data guy, and I love the numbers. And usually in the high end, one of the two partners you're going to be working with, a husband or wife, whoever, one of them is going to be typically a numbers person, and they're going to want to know it's a big investment. And so if you know the numbers, it's going to be really helpful.
Great. All right, Anthony, I know we're about to hit the 30-minute mark here, so if anybody has any questions for you after the Hangout, how can they get a hold of you?
They can, I'm happy to call. They can call my cell phone. They can email me. My information was all on the page? Or?
We can put your information on the page if you would like. If you want to share it now, you can.
Yeah,
or
sure. I'm happy to.
Post it.
Yeah, I'm happy to. So anyone on this call, I'm happy to have them contact me directly. So my cell phone is 310-293-9280, and my email is Anthony and it's Amalfi Estates, like the Amalfi Coast of Italy. So it's AMALFIESTATES.com. And our website is amalfiestates.com.
States.com. All right, and we'll post all of that on the Hangout page, and that will be in the replay as well, email that we'll send out. And Verl, how could anybody get in touch with you if they had any questions for you after the Hangout?
Yeah, it's workmansuccesssystems.com, and that's where our website is. You can also email us direct at verl@verlworkman.com. And we'll be happy to answer any questions for you. And I'll tell you what, Anthony, it's been a pleasure to talk to you today. Thanks for sharing some great ideas and tips on working in this luxury market. And we're looking for great things. It's going to be a fun 2016, isn't it?
Yeah, we're very, very excited. And I'm happy to put one of the video links to the aerial videos that we do on each of our high-end properties, so you guys can see the lifestyle video and the whole.
Yeah, that would be great. I'll email you after the Hangout, Anthony, and I'll have you send me that link, and then I'll put that link up on the page and send it out in the replay email as well.
Okay.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
Well, everybody,
Thanks,
thank you for joining us on this episode of Seven Figure Success. Go ahead and join us next month for our second episode. We'll send out more information on that soon. Thank you, guys.
Take care.